ignore all of it and go out there and you do it. And then I just want to say to females with disabilities as well, I also want to say that females in the workplace, why is it that we do not get into management positions? Whether you are disabled or not, it's because there's glass ceilings placed on us. I want you to reach out and I want you to break down those ceilings. I want you to stand up in a male-dominant environment, and I want you to own your voice. I want you to speak out and not just accept things that come your way, and go for it in the workplace. The opportunity for women is now in our country. So before I stand here and talk all night, I just want to also thank everybody that's here. And I've got one challenge for this audience. With what lens do you look at people with disabilities? Is it when you refer to people with disabilities, do you say they? Is it them? In other words, they are a separate species to yourself. And I want to challenge you to look at the lens and to see people with disabilities just as people. Because you know what? All of us in this room have got some or other disability. Whether it's financial, whether it's a relationship, whether you are a cheat, whether you are not honest, we all have a disability. Thank you so much.
The Tribunes. Beatrice Ngcobo. Only a few can claim the title stalwart. Fewer still play the role with as much distinction as Beatrice has done and still does. Her actions in the arena of the integration of the disabled into mainstream society is the stuff of legends. True to what life calls for in every human being, a legendary existence. An apt description of Beatrice, the life and the times.
Nothing about us without us. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I would like to pay tribute first to Maria Ranto, who was a real stalwart. We were both in the same profession when we become spinal cord. She was injured, I was not injured. I inherited a virus from one of my patients. With that patient, it was with the heart, and with me, it was my spine. So I had a transverse myelitis, for those who understand. Maria Ranto traversed the width and the breadth of this country, and I really pay tribute to her. But to add to Maria, I would like to pay tribute to the legendary Friday Mavuso, whom most of you know about. Maria was the first disabled person or person with disability to go to Parliament, and she was a woman, and she made a lot of changes, and I worked with her all the way in the mobilization of women with disabilities throughout the country. There were 7 regions at the time. I wonder how many of you know those 7 regions, but it was Transkei Border, Western Cape, Eastern Transvaal, Northern Transvaal, Southern Transvaal, Natal, Orange, Free State. So those were the regions. We went to all those regions to mobilize women with disabilities. We slept at hostels, we slept at Pondokis, we slept all over. But at the end of the day, women with disabilities were mobilized. I am different from the others in the sense that I was not born with a disability. So my disability has become my ability. And on this day, I would like to say to all the girls and the ladies that are here, use your ability, because you are not disabled. You've got an ability. So you use your ability optimally, first and foremost, and the sky is the limit. You've shattered the glass ceilings. on my story. I told you I became disabled as an adult, but I found myself having to experience a lot of negative attitudes. As we are talking today, for freedom, we fought. But for people with disabilities, we are fighting for freedom from the attitudes that we experience every day. The brief that I was given was to talk on leadership, but I'll talk on leadership differently. As a person with a disability, one, and as a woman with a disability, two, it was very difficult to maneuver the terrain where one was walking 2 days ago, and maneuver the terrain on a wheelchair. Then I said, one of the responsibilities that I have is to make sure that access becomes the issue. And as you say, the cab cards and the ramps and whatever, they did not come around or about because somebody was kind enough. There had to be a lobby and advocacy, big time, as they always say. So in the university where I did my postgrad studies, it was least accessible. And one day I found myself trapped in a building. I wanted to go out, I couldn't go out, I was all alone. The ramp was quite horrendous, going out of the building to the steps, and from the steps to ground, it was double horrendous. And as I was wondering whether to cry, to shout, and who to phone, lo and behold, Professor Zulu came around, and Musa Zulu came around. They said, no, you can go out, there's a ramp. I said, there is no ramp here. There is this horrendous steep. They helped me down that horrendous step to another horrendous steep to be on ground. So the issue of access for people with disability is such a problem. Access because there are so many attitudes that are anti-disabilities. So the other area where I found it very important to begin to do something about it was when somebody, a good Samaritan, paid for me to go to the University of Tel Aviv, where I did a 6 weeks course on sexuality. The reason that prompted me to go and do that course is because whenever we had meetings with disabled people, particularly men, when they became spinal cord injured, they would say, I am useless, I am nothing, I am useless, I cannot do anything, I'm scared my wife will, abandon me. And even young men were saying, oh, but I'm really useless, even if I die, I don't mind. And some of them ended up with pressure sores. But on my return from Israel, I began to address conferences to talk exactly on sexuality. Those days, in the late 1980s and early 1990s, technology was not as advanced as it is. Medicine was not advanced as it is. But after having had a series of talks with these people, most of them improved. And even today, they're saying, oh, but Sis Beatrice, you really helped me because I found myself thereafter. I've got children, I've got a family. Some are saying, even as we speak today, no, but you really helped us because we're so lost. One of the people said, I even developed bad sores because I was pitying myself that I don't have friends, so I might as well die. And to share a sad story, whilst I was in hospital and as a patient, some of my colleagues said, it would have been better to have died rather than be disabled because you've been very active. I was a tennis player, I was a dancer. Then I said, no, I think maybe it was my turn. I have walked fast, I've done everything fast, now it's my turn to sit down. Who else was to become disabled? Let me live with my disability because really my disability is going to be my ability ever since my disability has become my ability.
The tributes. Zama Bane. Zama is no stranger to FIRS. Now the first differently abled person at Bidfried HOTS operations, an appointment she tackles with fervor and gusto, characterized by a spirit best described as joie de vivre, an expression of living only the likes of Zama in all of us could achieve.
Good evening to the ladies and the gentlemen in the house. I'm not fluent in my speech, so I'm going to read what I'm going to say to you. I am going to tell you a little bit about my life as a person living with a disability. I was born with a spina bifida, and for the first 5 years, I couldn't use my legs. Then, when I was 5, I had an operation on my spine. That helped me to stand and to sit up on my own. When I was 8, I finally got my first set of crutches, and they taught me how to walk, using one crutch, one leg, and the other crutch, and the other leg. But that was too slow for me, so I taught myself to hop, so I could keep up with my friends. I went to the school for the disabled children. They taught me how to overcome any challenges that comes my way. The most important thing they told us is that nothing is wrong with us. We are God's creation just like everybody else. I remember that we used to hate the word special. Special school, special kids. They taught us that it didn't mean that we're stupid and need different treatment, but it meant that God wanted to show his greatness and his power through us. That's why we are special. I want to tell you a story. I have a beautiful 8-year-old daughter. When you have a child, you're always concerned about what they think and what they know. When she was about 5, I asked her, "Do you know that mommy is disabled?" She said, "Yes." So I asked her, "Do you know what that means?" She said, "It means mommy is walking with crutches and we don't." To me, that showed me that she didn't see my disability as something different, as something wrong, sorry. But it was different, and just because you are different, it doesn't mean you can't have a normal life. This isn't always easy though. After high school, reality starts kicking in. It was difficult to get a decent job. I was judged before I even had a chance to present myself and what I can offer. It was either we can't accommodate you or we have never hired a disabled person before. But there were companies who gave me a chance, and Bidfreight Port Operation is one of them. In 2008, we were given a chance to prove ourselves in a learnership program. Since then, I am proud to say they have employed quite a number of people living with disabilities. Working for BPO has been such a great experience because everyone accepts us and makes us feel that we are part of the team. To make a person living with disability part of your team, you need to communicate with them. Instead of trying to help all the time, I know I hate people who always try to help me. Instead of trying to help them all the time, rather give them every need that they need and make sure that their workplace is accessible. BPO has improved enormously when it comes to accommodating our needs. When I came to work for the company, they had no resources to accommodate the disability. They have come a long way since, and personally, I think they are one of the few companies that has installed an electronic chair that goes up the long stairways so you don't have to walk. They have also built toilets to accommodate people with disabilities. I am very proud of my management, and I'm very proud of my boss, General Manager Taron Harpers. Can you please stand up so that they could see you? He has made my life very easy in a workplace, and I thank him for it. Thank you very much.
The tributes. Masingita Masungu. If beauty is in the eye of the beholder, may we present Masingita for your spiritual satisfaction. Her beauty radiates from within, which in any form of expression is contextually correct. Her beauty resides in her spirit, a spirit exemplary of how life intended our spirits to be. She is Miss Confidence, rising above our limitations.
Thank you. I didn't get enough clap. Please, really applaud. I love the attention, and I'm not going to apologize. This is a good night. Very, very good night. When I say good night, I'm not saying going to sleep. I'm not bidding you goodbye. Geez, I don't know what to say. But anyway, my name is Masingita from Giyani, Limpopo. I have cerebral palsy, which was caused by an incident, a human incident where there was lack of oxygen. And apparently from an early age, I've always surpassed the expectations that were upon me. From an early age, I would always go beyond what other people thought I could do. I still do that with confidence. When I was growing up, I went to an ordinary school, and I had friends who had no disabilities, but they knew whenever we were playing, they would have to change the rules of the games to suit me. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a game played. Something that I still do today. I came to believe that people treat people handle you the way you present yourself. The problem that we have sometimes as women, firstly, and as people with disabilities, we are apologetic of who we are. And let me tell you, if you don't believe in yourself, no one will. I don't apologize for being Masingita. I don't apologize for being beautiful. I don't apologize for going out there and getting things for myself. I'm not gonna apologize for being me. I will never apologize, and that is the lesson that I was taught by my parents. As I said that I've got cerebral palsy, which is a coordination disability. I was told years ago that you can't drive. And I looked at this doctor who was telling me that I can drive. I said, let's see who's right between me and you. For 8 years, I worked on a driver's license. It wasn't easy. And eventually in 2006, I got my driver's license. And when it was time for me to buy a car, I went for Mercedes-Benz C-Class. I'm not gonna apologize for the kind of life that I live. I work hard for it. I cry for that life. I tend away sometimes for me to have that kind of life. Hence today, I do get paid to speak. I'm not going to apologize for having a communication team that works on my brand as Masingita, because like it or not, I am a brand. I'm not going to apologize for having a manager who, instead of me taking calls and booking, somebody else does it for me, and I'm not going to apologize for that. I'm not going to apologize for wearing stilettos, because I do look good in them. I'm not going to apologize for going to a spa when I feel like it, because I work hard to go to a spa. I'm told that other people cannot afford that. I understand that, but I work hard for this life. What am I trying to say? Don't apologize for your life. Don't apologize for your success. I'm not going to stand here and say, I don't think this is me. This is me. I've worked hard to stand here. I've been criticized for the kind of things that I do. That is fine. Criticism is good. You know what I say? Once the car starts moving, the dogs begins to bark. And I take criticism like that. I'm saying to all of you, be yourself. Appreciate who you are. Know that you matter. Be happy in life because you've got only one life. Sometimes we take our lives for granted. And as I finish speaking, I'm saying to all of you, from the 4th of September, watch me on Soweto TV. After 6, I have my own talk show. And it's called Masingita with Confidence. I was told that I can't speak. Somebody once refused to give me an interview and say, people won't hear you. Let me say, I get paid thousands just to speak to people. This is Masingita, deal with it.
The Tribunes. Mandy Latimore. Mandy is the epitome of living life without limits. Similarly, life has responded to her without reservation. A relationship with life that has seen her apply her leadership self at every opportunity. It is therefore no surprise that she lives by the words, nature restores the soul. For it is in her soul that we discover the nature of living.
Thank you, everybody. And thanks again to everybody who organized this wonderful tributes 3 days. We've had a wonderful time. We've made new friends, and it's been really, really special. As the other colleagues have been saying, it's usually our role in life is to actually just work in the background and get things done. I wasn't born with a disability. I was 19 when I had my accident. And at that stage, it was in the 80s, early 80s, so I'm one of the older people with disabilities around. There were absolutely no facilities for people with disabilities, and attitudes of people around, they just didn't know what to do and how to react to somebody with a disability. My mum, who I usually call my wise old owl, my woo, said to my friends, listen, just because her legs don't work hasn't changed her as a person, which was a wonderful way of getting me up and going and my friends up and going. And so once I was out of the hospital and rehabbed, I was back onto the motorbikes that I used to ride, back into the water doing the scuba diving that I had done before, and trying to redo sports that we had to make whole new equipment for, because I used to snow ski and water ski, and so there was me back into the water and back onto the snow. It was also hard because there were no facilities. There were no ramps. There were no accessible bathrooms. You couldn't go to a movie and dinner because you couldn't use one of the bathrooms. You had to go home. So what I did was I said, right, if there are no facilities, I'm going to crusade. And that's what I started doing in my 20s and 30s, was to work for the rights of people with disabilities and to get the knowledge out there. More than getting the actual ramps made, was to get the perceptions of people to change, to understand that I haven't changed just because my legs don't work. I was a 19-year-old woman. I wanted to be and feel sensual and sexual, and I wanted people to look at me that way. But I was certainly outcast on that side. People just couldn't deal with this, especially this vibrant, lively, smiling person. I used to go into a pub with my mates, and people would sort of look at you, and then in the end of the evening say, we think you're fantastic. Why? I was in a pub, just like any other 19-year-old would have been. So it was great to actually see and work and change these attitudes. And one of the things with the hard work and everything was to get into the bush and to nature. That is where I restore my soul, because I do work hard. I always do 15 jobs at once. And so the bush is really my nature, restoring of soul, and the beach. I'm a scuba diver, so I do a lot of underwater work. I also fly aeroplanes, so I get into the sky, and this 3D environment is just so wonderful. And so once I lost my husband 16 years ago, I decided, well, if I'm not going to have kids and a family life, what am I going to do? So I decided to get into the travel world. And having traveled extensively myself, and really the only way you can do that as a person with a disability is to do planning, planning, and more planning, I decided that I was going to open up an agency to assist other people with disabilities to travel. And I've been doing that for nearly 17 years. And have also moved now into trying to work better, get better facilities and accessibility for people within the workplace so that we can place more people with disabilities into the workplace. But traveling is a wonderful thing to do, and the sky is the limit. As I said, I do fly, and I don't fly planes myself anymore, but I do stand on the top of the planes and wing walk. And one of the little sayings that I have that keeps me going is, first you dream, then you fly. And I think that is so true in life, in everything you do. If you can dream it, you can do it. Because if you want to go on an elephant and go swimming an elephant in the river in Thailand, you can do it, because I've done it. If you want to fly on planes, you can do it. We must never ever allow, just because we have a disability, to stop us at all. We have to think outside the box. And I think that's what we have to say today to everybody, even whether you have a disability or not. Please, guys, if you come to any kind of problem, try